And he goes, take advantage of me. I want you, here's my password to my PayPal. You go into the account, send yourself the money. He's really like this guy who wants to be taken advantage of. He wants me to like access and go into his Facebook and like log him out and then like make him give me $1,000 or like 2,000 because he's stuck and he has no other option. Like that turns him on. Then he was sending me his full-blown credit card. And then I was just like paying like literally all the things that you never want to pay, which I think I'm smart for doing. Parking tickets.
Sipping is at an all-time high.
James argues, accurately, that there are differences between men and women. This is a strange position to be in, to be arguing for something that is so universally and widely accepted within biology. What is not as widely accepted is that culture is also evolutionary, but I'm going to argue that biology and culture are both evolutionary. Let's look at differences between men and women that are explicitly anatomical and physiological. Are men taller than women on average? Does anyone take offense at that fact? Are you irritated?
There's always a standout.
So I would say you could be irritated by it. You could be irritated by the fact that women have to be the ones to gestate and lactate. You could be irritated by a lot of truths. But taking offense is a response that is rejection of reality. So men and women are different on height. They're different on muscle mass. They're different on where fat is deposited on our bodies, right? Our brains are also different. So there's
security. This is what happens. Oh, did they shut off the volume? Can you hear? Can everybody hear?
Really? He's a piece of shit. That is not okay. Even the women in there have been brainwashed.
Should not listen. It should not be tolerated in civil society. They're not welcome in civil society.
Fuck. Power to the people. Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to raise our voices. The conversation's going to go on. Let me be crystal clear. Let me be crystal clear. People do not have the right to tell you what you can and cannot listen to. People do not have the right, fringe elements of society do not have the right to hold you hostage to discourse. This is a university. If we cannot have this conversation here, we can't have it anywhere. We have to be able to talk about it. No issues will solve themselves. That sort of behavior is unacceptable.
This is a society we live in. What's the difference between them and some spoiled brats who got parents who just spoiled their offspring? What's the difference? When parents spoil their offspring, they literally act entitled and they throw tantrums when they don't get their way. They're acting the same exact way. This is the society we live in. There are particular groups of people that are so privileged and they get their way so much that when you say something they don't like, they literally have to shut the whole thing down. That's why cancel culture exists in the first place. Cancel culture exists because you have particular groups of people who don't like what somebody else is saying, so they literally shut your whole thing down. They literally just shut it down. They just cancel it. Because you don't like what somebody else is saying, somebody else's viewpoint, somebody else's perspective, that's so immature. That's literally immature. Just like spoiled brats. It is okay to have a dialogue with somebody else that you don't agree with because it brings higher learning. Sometimes if I have a certain position on something and I have an intellectual discussion with somebody else who has a different perspective on things, a different school of thought, a different dogma on a particular subject, it actually will make me smarter because now I'm hearing perspectives that I ain't never even heard before. I'm like, dang, you know what? I was so concrete on this position, but after talking to you and listening, actually giving you a chance to listen to you, dang, you know, I might not fully agree with you, but wow, like my perspective on this actually has changed a little bit. Whenever I see somebody get canceled for something, to me, it just seems like a lack of maturity. Because if you really don't like something, people have said things I don't really like and I don't agree with and stuff like that, but I just change the channel or I just don't click on their stuff no more. simple as that. The only other thing that makes you do that is that triggers a person so much like that, if it's in my opinion, if it's low-key kind of true. So you try to shut it down because you don't want to accept it yourself, so you got to try to shut it down. That's the only other thing, you know what I'm saying?